Well, I didn't get a chance to put out any videos this week. I've got 2 case studies pending. I was going to give you guys a little sneak peek of what I got going on. I've also got a couple of captures I want to share of a couple of techniques that I'm working on. Get you guys input on that, or if it's something you're actually doing. One involves a mass airflow sensor looking at cylinder contribution on the air side. It's almost like relative compression, except I'm using the mass airflow to check for cylinder fill. I haven't fine-tuned it yet. Still working on it. I like to practice a lot on known good, but I'm going to show you kind of what I've got. Also, I've been experimenting with fuel rail pressure sensors and killing injectors. I'm going to share a capture that I've looked at on a Cummins diesel with a common rail setup. I do believe this could be used with a direct injection also on gas cars, but like I said, I'm kind of in the beginning stages of experimenting and looking at this stuff, and as I progress along, I will keep updating, and I may include it in some diagnostics that I'll get into. Like I said, this is going to be a to be continued on the case study, but I'll show you what I've got because I kind of feel bad going total radio silence on you guys and not putting out any videos for a couple of weeks. So this is what we've got. Also, thanks for the new subscribers. We've got 584. I think it was a month ago I put a thank you to 500, so that is great. Auto Nerds link is still up. If you guys need stuff for your scope, need a scope, supplies, head over there, click that link. It'll be in the description box or on my homepage as you see here. Look around, shop around. Also, click on the training and support tab and you can download the latest Pico 7 and the last Pico 6 software, which you guys see me use a lot, and that's absolutely free. Check around some of the other stuff he's got going on over there. Also, you can look at the forum on the public side. You just sign up, it's totally free. I just recently put a classified ad up and a fellow responded, and I bought a K110 microcurrent clamp, which is pretty freaking cool. I'm just now starting to use it. Once I get the kinks worked out of it, you're definitely going to see some case studies using that, measuring current on everything from air-fuel ratio sensors to hot wire mass airflow. I've experimented with it some on airbag sensors, which is pretty daggone cool. I will get into more and more of that as I use it. But thank you guys for subscribing. The channel's growing. Like I said, this is an update. It's not going to be really long, but I'm going to show you 4 or 5 captures of things I'm doing, and you never know, you might like it. Hit me up if you've got any ideas on some of the techniques that I'm talking about. It's something if you've done. I'm kind of interested in it, and I want to definitely refine the process. You guys have a good one. Thanks for watching. Alright, this is a capture I was talking about, the mass airflow sensor, kind of maybe using it to look at cylinder contribution, say on a pumping side, or maybe possibly could even use it for timing. Like I said, this is beta testing. I'm experimenting with this. There may be guys out here way more further advanced than I am with this sort of testing. This capture is running. There is nothing wrong with this car. I have other captures of cranking, and I'm trying to work out a way where I can manipulate a cylinder to actually create a leak. I'm using like a compression hose, and I'm playing with different things just to see how it shows up on the scope. But real quick, I'll just show you something that I've got going on. So the blue trace is an ignition sync. The red trace is basically the signal wire back probed at the mass airflow. That's actually a voltage signal. And of course the green is a WPS transducer. This is actual numbers. This is not a first look sensor. Obviously if you have a WPS or something like it, you might not need to do this, but this may be quick easy, fast, or it may help somebody out that doesn't have a nice transducer. So that's why I'm exploring it. So let's check this out. So let me back up. I hit the wrong button. So I cut in an engine cycle here, and of course up here you see the intake pulls, and you can clearly see where the exhaust valves open. Here, here, and here. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this engine at all. Now with the power of Pico, we can go in here and zoom in on that red trace. We can put some vertical zoom on it. So I'm just going to do that, and it kind of gets away from you, so I click it a few times and then chase it back down where I can see it. Now what I'm trying to work out is the valve actually opens here on each one of these traces. But I'm already started up on my mass airflow. So the latency, you know, the mass airflow is at the end and on the opposite side of the throttle plate, and it's far away. The WPS is reading, you know, right when the intake valve opens. So there's going to be some, you know, by the time the volume in the intake changes, there's going to be some latency. That's all the stuff I'm trying to work out. But let's say, for instance, I mean, you can see this is a 4-cylinder engine, so an intake pull would happen every 180. But let's say you had one, instead of pulling where it's supposed to, it was pulling over here. Well, or pulling back here, you know, such as maybe a valve adjustment issue. Would you be able to see that in the mass airflow? That's kind of the stuff I'm trying to prove out. It may not be the end-all test, but it would be something to look at. If anybody out there is kind of doing this, let me know what you're finding. Let's see, something else I've been messing with. Here I'm back probed in the fuel rail pressure sensor. This is a V8 5-liter Cummins diesel in a Titan truck. And half of this screen is running on all 8 cylinders. And then the other half, it's I killed number 2. So let's zoom in here and I'll show you what I'm kind of seeing. And remember, this is a voltage trace. The blue trace is a voltage trace. So right here, it's firing on all 8 cylinders. And the firing order is right there, 1, 2, 7, 8, 4. So basically the second hump after the index is number 2 cylinder. So let's zoom in here. And you see these taller peaks that are riding within the voltage. I believe that's what we're seeing, and I believe there's some good diagnostic data there that we can maybe tell if an injector's not flowing. I'm thinking this could be used a lot more with gas, because this thing is idles at about 3,000 pounds of pressure. But all these injectors are actually working, and see these tall peaks? So let's go over here and let's look in here. So that injector's running. Notice there's no peaks in here. This would be where number 2 is, but I've turned it off. And then notice how we're taller peaks here. This would be number 7, or the next one in the firing order. Taller peaks, taller peaks. Like I said, it's kind of the devil in the details thing, but it is a distinct difference. I mean, you see 4 pulses right there, and you see 4, 3.5 nice changes. And then number 2 should be right in here. Notice you don't have the big peaks. And then you get into the next one, see how you got taller peaks. Now, would I hang an entire diagnosis on this? Hell no. But you can use information like this coupled with other tests that you've done, and you probably could draw a pretty good conclusion as to what's going on. Like I said, I'm still experimenting with this too. I don't know what it would look like with partially failed. Obviously, this is a fully failed injector. Word of warning, I don't know if you guys work on a lot, but these are piezo style injectors. I'm using a current clamp. And you can see the current's pretty high. You're looking at 17, and this is just idling, 17 amps. If you do any direct measuring with these, and you're using a Picoscope, I would definitely use an attenuator, because the voltages do get over 100, 119, 120 volts. Because it's got to have that oomph to pull these injectors, to move these injectors when you're up to 15, 20,000 PSI. So I'm going to do more with this. I got to look at some more gas-powered cars, because I'm hoping I can use this to aid in diagnostics with pesky misfires and things like that. What else am I working on? I've got a little time chain diag job that I'm waiting for customer approval. This is a Nissan Juke. It's got a timing code in it. I don't remember the number, but it's for the exhaust cam only. The scan tool was reading -14 at idle, which it should have been at 0. So I stuck a pressure change deucer in the cylinder. First thing I don't like is I don't like this lower pocket here, because in theory, when the intake valve shuts here, everything that's trapped should still be there here. This cylinder is not leaking, but I believe the valve is staying shut a little longer, and it should, kind of stretching that air just a little more. It's kind of one indicator. The other indicator is this 180 mark. I like to see it somewhere up in here. And if you kind of do the math, 180 plus 14, well, that's 195. So she's a little bit late. I haven't got the approval to tear it down to prove this out. And on my channel, I don't really like to do case studies until I have the failure, the fix, and the after stuff. But like I said, a little sneak peek of what I'm doing. And this one, I'm waiting on the car to show back up. I have the part. Here's a bad capture. This is a 2020 Sentra. It has a P0404 EGR overcurrent. I'm using strategy where to put my probes, an amp clamp, and we're actually using a little math channel here for duty on the red trace here. And I'm looking at the current and the voltage, and why is the current going so high. The fix for this might not be what you think. Bad valve. Do I have some carbon blocking it, driving my current up? Do I have some shorting going on? Once I get this car fixed and I get the after captures, I will be going over this one. It's pretty cool what I found, and it's probably not what you think it is. So there's my cliffhanger. That's what's been going on over here at Carter's Diagnostics.